Well, this gentleman had made a misstatement when I asked him why he dressed up as Muhammad Zombie. He seemed to have the idea that Muhammad had, after he died, he rose from the dead, walked along the earth as a zombie, and then ascended in heaven. To me, that clearly was a misstatement, misunderstanding of the facts. So I tried applying some of my training experience I've had as a member of the Armed Forces, from 27 years worth of service, 3 deployments to the Middle East, to try and bridge the understanding gap that he apparently had. My overall intent was to try and reduce conflict between members of my community.
So Jonathan Turley, who is a legal scholar, he took exception with a couple of things. One, he was interested in knowing why the original charge was an assault. What happened was, of course, the gentleman who's Muslim ended up trying to rip the sign off the guy in the parade, and all of it sort of ended up in court. Why was the original charge not assault? Why was it just harassment?
That was police officer's discretion. The definition of harassment in Pennsylvania Crimes Code is basically does somebody with the intent to annoy, alarm, or harass another, subject another to unwanted physical contact, such as pushing, shoving, striking, kicking, things of that nature. The reason that I dismissed that charge was because the Commonwealth failed to prove to me, beyond reasonable doubt, that this offense had actually occurred the way that the alleged victim had described it.
Why didn't you give the First Amendment lecture? And I don't think, because we have the recording, it didn't sound like you really chewed him out, but you sounded, you sort of lectured him sternly about First Amendment rights. And you gave it to the guy who brought the case, not the gentleman who was watching the parade, who tried to rip the sign off the neck of the guy who was dressed like the Prophet Muhammad, which, granted, the costume was offensive, but isn't that his right as an American citizen to dress in any costume he wants?
Okay. First couple things. We only know that the defendant attempted to rip the sign off based on the testimony by the alleged victim. I don't know what happened. It was not proven to me beyond reasonable doubt what happened. Second, you're absolutely right. The alleged victim had absolutely right to dress the way he did. Now, just because he can exercise his First Amendment rights doesn't necessarily mean that he should. I think there is a limit to what our free speech consists of. With our First Amendment rights, there comes a set of responsibilities to use those rights correctly. I wouldn't advocate ethnic intimidation, which this is almost on the edge of becoming. I don't think anyone would accept any kind of ethnic intimidation. Just because you can dress up in a white sheet and a hood doesn't mean you should.
Well, I'm sure that there's